Hey everyone, the establishment media in Canada, are they desperate or what? They're trying their best to convince the Canadians now to be so fearful, to be just like the Americans, or the people of the UK. Oh, we got to be scared to death. Oh, the Russians are coming. The Russians are coming. Oh no, what are we going to do? They're going to be offering different information, disinformation. They're going to be offering propaganda and narratives and political positions that will be contrary to what the kind of information that our establishment or establishment politicians are trying to put forth. What are we going to do? Canadians will be so susceptible and so easily deceived by these Russian trolls. And have you seen a picture of some of these fucking 13 Russian trolls? The one here now, I'll show a picture of it while I'm talking and discussing this, and you'll see, what is this guy? What's this? Some fucking young fucking dipshit, probably hanging out in his mother's basement, or, well, I guess it might be in his mama's kitchen, that's sitting down, and he was part of the big Russian conspiracy, right? This young guy, think about it. Think about it. The Five Eyes, the Edward Snowden revelations. I mean, you've heard the revelations, right, from Edward Snowden regarding this whole the Five Eyes program, where you have, all the main Western powers that are spying on not just the domestic population, but everybody around the world and collecting it all and storing it in these big servers. You got, like I say, the most powerful entities, the most powerful governments and their institutions on the planet doing the exact same kind of fucking shit, right? Putting forth these propagandist narratives and disinformation. But somehow, I guess these 13 trolls, as they call them, these Russian trolls that are being paid, what, $1,000 a month, apparently by the Kremlin, is what these media fucks are trying to suggest. Apparently these fucking dipshits that are making $1,000 a month have the capacity to override or negate all the propaganda that all the domestic media and the domestic, like, look at CBC, perfect example. This is a CBC article. CBC has a budget of in excess of $1 billion a year. And I mean, if you know how fucking much of the sensationalized propagandist narrative they put forth. I mean, think about how much interference CBC puts forth in regards to not just the US elections, but Brexit. I mean, look at how many media personalities in the CBC were putting forth dialogue and narratives that was completely against or in opposition to the Brexit referendum, or anti-Trumpsters. Like, holy shit, every media outlet almost in Canada is completely against Donald Trump, and they made sure that that was presented on a continuing and ongoing basis almost daily from this $1 billion plus crown crony corporation. But somehow, like I say, they're trying to present that apparently a few trolls that are paid $1,000 a month are much better at disseminating false information or fake news than even these $1 billion+ budgeted crony and crown corporations. What? I mean, really, I should just shut the fucking video off right now and say, hey, I think I already made my argument. I think I've already proven that these fucking bullshit lies and this rhetoric that's going to be espoused, it's all about fear mongering. It's all about, like when I was growing up, oh, duck and cover, the Russians are coming. Listen, folks, don't fall for this bullshit, okay? These kids or these trolls, or the fact that there's fake news. There was fake news when I was growing up too. They were called tabloids, right? There was the Inquirer. I mean, you should have seen the shit that they put forward and presented. Now, if you're fucking stupid enough or naive to base all of your judgments on political propaganda or tabloid-style media, then, well, there's no help for you. There's nothing anybody can do. There's no politician, there's no political pundit, there's no media outlet, there's not even an education system that can help the kind of fucking people that are willing or foolish or naive enough to go along with whatever some idiot puts forth or present as a dialogue or as a narrative. These are people that are susceptible to basically any kind of bullshit. These are people that snake oil salesmen, politicians, marketers. These are the people they want to target because, like, they're so easy to trick and deceive. But the fact that they're easy to trick and deceive means that that can happen and that can come from anywhere. But like I say, government and their media counterparts, oh, they don't like competition. Obviously, what it is they don't want to have to be challenged. They don't like to have their predominant scripted narratives challenged, so they're trying to scare you to, you got to shut off all sources of information except ours, because trust me, we're the only ones going to tell you the truth. And if you're offered anything outside of our truth, then we're scared to death that you'll fall for that. It's like, well, wait a minute. If you're offering them real truth based on logic and reason and morality and ethics, why would you be so concerned that they'll turn or pivot away to these fucking Russian trolls? Oh, like I say, folks, it's just so insane. But I'm going to read a little bit in this article. Like I say, well, the headline is Putin was good, Obama was bad. Former Russian trolls reveal online work to create fake news. Employees at nondescript St. Petersburg office building wrote stories or posted comments. Oh no! And it's hilarious. This contributor to CBC News, Chris Brown, really though, you are truly willing to get your paycheck by fucking doing this shit? Do you know how much you're contributing to this race to the lowest common denominator? This divisive, this identity politics, this fear-mongering? Chris, you are a contributor. You're a fucking piece of shit in my eyes, in my mind. All right? Just going to let you know that first and foremost. When St. Petersburg journalism grad Vitaly Bespalov answered an online ad for a writer in 2014, he thought the gig at Russia's internet research agency might help his fledgling career. As he quickly learned, what he really signed up for was a job as a paid internet troll. And that's another thing. If you don't think your own domestic fucking governments and their spy agencies and these media fucking hacks don't do the same thing, well, I mean, there's information out there, folks. And like, well, hello, this known revelations told you that, yeah, it already happens in all your country. So this happens from your own domestic sources as well. And even those that aren't paid, ideologues are no different or no better than these online internet trolls, paid or unpaid. If they're ideologically possessed or driven, yeah, they're going to lie to you and deceive you in as many ways as they possibly can. They pose as people who are not really them, he told CBC News at his apartment in St. Petersburg. By the second or third day, it was clear where I had landed and what this was actually. Last month, U.S. Special Prosecutor Robert Mueller indicted 13 Russian nationalists who worked at the so-called troll factory in St. Petersburg, accusing them of interfering in the 2016 U.S. election. Interfering. You notice how they don't say rigging or intervening, right? Because they didn't. They didn't change the election. They just offered fucking counter narratives or fake news or bullshit propaganda. But it's like, you really think that, well, once again, if the American people were that fucking naive, well, that's a cultural issue. That's a propagandist issue. And that starts at home. That starts by the very fact, the very reality that your established media constantly lie to you and propagate bullshit fake news narratives themselves. So of course they're scared that people are going to fall for other sources of fake news or propagandist narratives. The allegations include fabricating news and using false identities to sow discord in the United States ahead of the vote. Bespalov left long before that period, after just 3 months on the job. It was really bothering me what I was doing. I knew I had stayed to get more information on the operation. But this feeling of disgust stayed with me. He says he's sharing his story now with the hope that it makes people more aware of how the fake news business works, and in the hopes that the operation will be shut down. Bespalov says he was one of the roughly 200 employees at the nondescript low-rise St. Petersburg office building, far removed from the dazzling palaces of the czars that are the city's major tourist attractions. And I'm just skipping down a little bit further in the article here, and listen to this, folks. Every morning there was a list and the topics about what you were supposed to write, he told CBC News in St. Petersburg. You never had your own opinion. You wrote what was written there. Oh, you mean like political talking points, those talking point memos that the government hands out to all the established media, whether it's AP or the Reuters, to give them their dominant narrative, their scripted, predetermined narrative for the day? Sounds very much familiar, doesn't it? Sounds like everything that happens in the establishment media in Canada. Putin is always good, always good, he says, and Obama was bad. The world was black and white. Yeah, you don't hear any of that from the establishment media at all, do you? They don't try to paint the world as black or white or us versus them at all, do you? No, not at all. No, it's just these trolls that do that kind of stuff. His job was to write in the comments section of Russian news sites and counter anything negative about the Russian government. Jesus. 135 comments a day, 20 people a shift. 2 shifts day and night. Can you imagine how many comments are coming every day on the internet? Both former trolls say they were paid well, about $1,000 Canadian a month. All of it in cash. Ooh, a whole $1,000 a month Canadian. Wow. Well, no wonder they were such amazing trolls, because they were paid a whole $1,000 Canadian a month. Imagine what the people at the CBC, the CTV, the Global News, Globe and Mail, I mean, all these fucking established media outlets that are literally, well, I mean, CBC is literally a branch, an arm of the government. And then you're seeing all the time, all the media now is being bailed out or propped up or secretly or underhandedly funded by the government, right? It's like, and to the tune of a whole lot more than $1,000 a month. I guarantee you there's no contributors in any of our establishment media outlet, even on the lowest end of that scale, even the lowest end of that institution, that organization, that's making a mere $1,000 a month, folks. They're making a whole lot more than that. They're getting a whole lot more money, being a lot more enriched than these so-called Russian trolls, right? To spew a completely opposing political or ideologically driven narrative that is far worse and far more disturbing than anything these internet trolls could ever put forward to present. U.S. authorities have indicted Yevgeny Prigozhin and allege he owned and operated the troll farm, often referred to as Putin's chef. He's the food caterer for the Kremlin and other Russian ministries. Prigozhin or whatever denies any connection to the troll operation. The Kremlin's official response to the trolling allegation is that there's no connection between the facility and the Russian government. Anyways, I'll post a link to this article in the description of the video below. But I mean, like I said, folks, it's kind of funny because it's just ridiculous in nature, in substance. But because people actually, a lot of Canadians fall for this bullshit narrative, so I got to take it more serious, which is why I make these videos pertain to this stuff. Don't fall for your political propagandists from anybody. From anybody. This is the age of information, folks. Take it upon yourself to educate and inform. Get information from all different sources, but do not ever, don't ever, I don't care what side of the political spectrum you adhere to, what political tribe you want to clamor for or associate with, what ideology that drives your or informs your decision. The most important thing that you should take away from any of this is get many different opinions and variances in your information or your news that you use to inform yourself. Anytime anybody, whether they're from the left or the right or anywhere on the political or ideologically spectrum, anytime somebody says that we are the only ones that are telling you the truth and everyone else is lying to you, well, you should at the very least, understand that those are the very people that you really need to concern yourself with. It's Canadian Libertarian, and I love liberty.